to continue from where we left last week. We've been talking about Jesus' healing ministry, okay? So we need to remember our refrain from last week. Heal me, help me, love me, Lord. Can y'all do that with me, please? Here we go. Heal me, help me, love me, Lord. Okay, so now we're going to continue our story. Jesus healed the man with the unclean spirit, and he went on his way. When he met a woman with a fever, and Jesus heard her say, heal me, help me, love me, Lord. So in our gospel lesson today, we learn about that woman with the fever. You see, Jesus was traveling with his disciples, and he went to Peter's house. And when he got to Peter's house, he found out that Peter's wife's mother was sick. So Jesus went to her room. He went to her. And our lesson tells us he touched her, he lifted her up, and she was healed. And do you know what she did next? This is pretty cool. Reminds me of my grandmother. She got up and she made him a meal. That's what she did. Wow, what an amazing way to respond to God's love. All right, so let's see what happens next. With Jesus' touch, the fever left the woman, and he went on his way when he met many people, and Jesus heard them say, heal me, help me, love me, Lord. So now, after Jesus healed Peter's wife's mother, everyone in town heard about the healing. So everyone who was sick came to the door of Peter's home. Now it's already late in the day because we know they had dinner, right? They had a meal, so I'm just thinking it's an evening meal. So now Jesus looks out the door, and here are all these people who need healing. I wonder, if Jesus ever got tired healing all those people? He did. He healed all those people. And then, here's what we learned. It says the next morning, he got up and he went to a quiet place. And there, he rested in conversation with God. In other words, he prayed. So through this example, I love it because I think Jesus is teaching us to listen to our bodies and to know when it's time to make a time for rest and a time to go to God in prayer. Now, one of the ways we can prepare our bodies for prayer is by helping our bodies to focus. And we can do that through some simple breathing exercises. So I want you to do that with me today. We're going to take a deep breath through our nose like this, and we're going to let it out through our mouths. You do that with me? Let's do it together. Close your eyes. Let's do it one more time. Comfortable, and they're focused, and they're ready for prayer. Today, we have our Lent take-home kits ready to go, and our focus for our Lent take-home kits is 40 days together, prayer and conversation. And in your kit, you're going to find a delightful book called There's No Wrong Way to Pray. Also, you're going to find several templates, one for each week in Lent. And you can take the templates, cut them out, and with some glue sticks and tape, you make these wonderful conversation cubes. And so, at dinner, or maybe you want it in the car when you're running from one practice to another, you can roll this. And you can answer the question, what's your favorite food? You know what? Conversations are great opportunities for prayer. You could pray for the people who make your food. You could pray for the people who harvest your food, who cook your food. So conversation is a wonderful lead-in to prayer. And now we've learned a way to calm our bodies and focus our minds for prayer. So I'm going to ask you to please help me by closing with an echo prayer. But first, let's take one deep breath in and one breath out. Now, please be my echo. Dear God, thank you for Jesus' example of making time to pray and rest. Help us to find ways to rest and to make time for prayer. Together we say, Amen. Thank you for